You've seen thriller recommendations and horror recommendations, but here comes sci-fi recommendations. Alright guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm Zach with Zacks Books, and today I have got Sci-Fi Recommendations Part 1. So, you guys have seen my thriller ones. I think I'm up to like 4 or 5 thriller. Horror, I think I'm up to 3 or 4 as well. I have finally read enough sci-fi books to get a list of recommendations for you that I like. So, I've got 5 books here. I do have close to enough for a second one. I do have that sci-fi TBR that I made. If you have not seen that video, check it out up here. It is a nice-ish day out, so we do have the window open, so if you hear any odd noises, they're not normal, then it's because we have the window open. So, but yeah, no, we're going to have these 5 books linked down below. We have everything else linked down below. We got Danielle's channel. Obviously, you're watching my channel, because duh. And we have all the other stuff. The bowling channel is also going on. All that fun stuff. Subscribe to the bowling channel, please. But yeah, let's get started. Alright, the first book up is Bad Astronauts, a novella by Grady Hendrix. This is about I think they call it like Redneck NASA or something like that. But this is about a astronaut who gets stuck up in space, and I believe it is his cousin. There's a relative of the person who's stuck up in space who is on Earth, and when he realizes that nobody's really going to go after him to try and rescue him and save him, he decides to do it himself. So he basically starts building a rocket to go up into space and save him. It's comical. There are some serious moments. In my opinion, I think it kind of leads off to maybe there could be a sequel, possibly. But I don't know if that's something Grady Hendrix would do. Maybe he will. Grady Hendrix, if you ever watch my videos. Bad Astronauts 2. But I ultimately gave this 4.5 stars. 4 stars or something like that. I don't think it quite hit 5. I enjoyed the story. I thought it was funny. There were some parts that I thought were, kind of dark. There were some parts I thought were comical. Very good novella. I really enjoyed it, and I would definitely recommend it. So there you have Bad Astronauts by Grady Hendrix. Alright, next up is The Passengers by John Marrs. So this is the first John Marrs book I read. It is the only John Marrs book I have read so far. Yeah, I don't think I've read another John Marrs book. This is a sci-fi thriller book, kind of like Locked Room, but it's Locked Car. What makes it kind of like sci-fi-ish is I don't know if it's set in the future, but I don't think it's like current day. I could be mistaken on that, but I know that it is like smart cars, and pretty much the guy who's like operating the cars like traps a bunch of people in their cars, and like there's another room where like this woman who like just met this one guy is like in one of the cars, and like they like slept together the night before or something like that, or they went on a date, or she knows him from something, and like I forget what tasks they have to do. There has to be something that happens in order for people to survive, and if they don't, then the guy who's like running the car starts picking them off one by one. And it gets really exciting towards the end. There's a big twist. I really enjoyed it. I think I gave this 4.5 stars, just like the other one. Another one I didn't quite hit 5 because I thought there were some parts that probably didn't need to be there. The action was great in this, though. I really did enjoy it. Twist was really solid. The eeriness of like being trapped in a smart car, kind of like a Tesla type situation, I thought was really neat, and it worked. So again, first John Marrs book I ever read. It's really fast paced. It's really is. So I would definitely recommend this, The Passengers, John Marrs. Alright, next up is The Tommyknockers by Stephen King. This is, I would say, I mean, there's aliens, so yeah, it's science fiction. Like, don't at me saying it's not science fiction. This is a science fiction horror type book. A lot of people really hate this book. A lot of people really dislike how it is written. This was during the peak of, or towards the end of King's major cocaine usage and issue, and there's definitely a change of tone when it gets towards the last like third or quarter of the book. Otherwise, I really enjoyed it. I don't believe I gave it 5 stars, but I might have. I think it could have been 4.5 or 4, just like the other two were. I really like this book. This book, we're following a town, Haven in Maine, because obviously it's Maine, it's Stephen King. Bobby is a girl who is walking in the woods with her dog. Dog's kind of old. She stumbles across this metal disc in the earth. Turns out to be an alien spaceship, and it gives off radiation, giving people like weird abilities and powers. However, there's a guy, I don't remember his name, but he yeah, I don't remember his name, but he's like a retired police chief, or he is a police chief. Something with law enforcement, and pretty much he's got like a metal plate in his head because he used to be he was in a war, and like part of his skull, something happened with it, and so he's got a metal plate in his head, and so like the transformation process for him like takes less time, so he's got more control of himself. But the people in the town start changing. There are weird cutscenes. Yeah, I remember why I didn't give this 5 stars. There's weird cutscenes for like out of the town that take place, like a military type like base or situation. I didn't like those portions. For me it's just like with the Misery book, like Paul Sheldon writing the book, those are like kind of like the scenes that come to mind when I think about how unnecessary it was. There's also a killer Coke machine in this book, which I thought was kind of funny. It's like the protector of the town if an outsider tries to come in. It's weird. But I really did enjoy this book. I definitely would say it's up there with the best of them. I wouldn't say the best, but it's definitely a book that's probably sitting in my top 20, maybe 30 Stephen King books of all time. So, but yeah, very good book. Definitely recommend this one, The Tommyknockers by Stephen King. All right, next up is the latest edition in the sci-fi books I've read, and that is Upgrade by Blake Crouch. So this book is a really good book. I gave it 5 stars. This is about a gentleman who is part of I don't think he's part of an experiment, but something happens to him where he gets infected, and the infection is actually something that helps him. It actually makes him better, makes him smarter, makes him remember things that he didn't remember before. And then he finds out that his mom... Well, he remembers that his mom's like a scientist, and she had this thing that happened way back when, I think it was either China or Japan, where she released this bug that was supposed to like make people like more advanced, and it killed thousands. So the mom was pretty much like deemed like a psychopath. He's got a sister, and apparently she got infected with the same thing. And one day they stumble, like he gets brought in for something. The sister rescues him and pretty much says we have to fulfill mom's dream, and he's like, no, we can't do that. And there's like a brother-sister battle that kind of happens, rivalry going on with like what's morally correct and what's morally incorrect. Should the humans be advanced or should they not? It's a really solid story. I liked it. The ending also was really good. I thoroughly enjoyed pretty much the entirety of this book. This is also my first Blake Crouch book, so I know a lot of you would think it was Recursion, I think is the other one you guys all say I need to read. I think that was on my sci-fi TBR, and if it wasn't, then it should have been. But definitely another book I'm going to try and tackle because I really enjoyed this one by him. So, yeah, very good book, 5 stars. Definitely would recommend this one. Upgrade, Blake Crouch. All right, and the number 1 book I would recommend for a science fiction book, no shit, Project Hail Mary by Andy Weir. This book is, in my opinion, perfection. I gave this 5 stars. It was my number 1 book last year. This was a phenomenal book, regardless. This book, we're following a gentleman who is part of a space mission. Ryland is his name. And I guess something is going on with the sun. Very scientific term that I do not remember because I'm not very scientific. And something happens to the sun where like the earth is going to be like destroyed, or like they're gonna like miss something that's vital for their like for humans to live. And he's got to go to the sun with his crew and fix something. He wakes up and doesn't remember who his crew is, doesn't remember who he is, doesn't remember what he's doing, and like his crew's dead, and so he's trying to figure out what's going on. And honestly, he meets probably one of my most favorite characters to ever be written into a book, Rocky, which is, at this point, now that it's been out for a little bit, I guess I can't really spoil it. It's an alien that he stumbles across, and like he is like the kindest alien that you will ever like meet or like hear about in a book, in my opinion, and his name's Rocky. And I just love this book so much. The ending is like heartwarming. It hits all the feels, in my opinion. Like, there was a point in this book I looked over at Danielle and I'm like, oh my god, I think he's going to do this instead, and that's like totally heartbreaking. And then he did this instead, and I was like, oh my god, that's so cute, so sweet. And I just love this book. This was like my first true science fiction book I read, and this is what basically triggered me into like wanting to read way more science fiction. So I just can't talk enough about this book. Like, I need to like shut up before this video gets way too long and I just like spoil everything about this book. So, absolutely love this book. Project Hail Mary, Andy Weir. Alright guys, so those are the 5 science fiction books that I would recommend to you as of now. Again, I am planning to do a part 2 of this type of video with science fiction soon. I guess depending on when I finish the other books. I think I've got 3 more, so I want to get 2 more. And there is another King one in that list. But again, really love this stuff. If you guys have got any other recommendations, let me know in the comments. I know I asked for that during my sci-fi TBR. You guys gave a bunch of good ones. If you have any more, let me know. Or what are your thoughts on the 5 that I gave to you? Let me know in the comments down below. Otherwise, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and we'll see you guys in the next video. Later.